system.
I thought you said you needed to do a
So I need to do weighted grades. I need
weighted
to
grades.
convert
Yes.
from, yes.
Yes, we spoke about that. So, okay, well, then this is the place to be. I have a lot of information that I can share with you. Just give me a minute. And I know we talked a little bit about it one other time, but there is a lot of information in here. You're not going to need all of it, but I will give you access to this Padlet, and you can pick and choose whatever you think you need. So I know that we spoke last time about your categories, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and I thought maybe we put your categories, you created your categories. Is that also correct?
Yes.
All right, there's a couple of worksheets here that you can use on your own. You can, I'll just look at this one, for example. You can look at this worksheet, you can download this worksheet and use it. And here's an example of how you can map everything out before you actually get started. And I'm assuming this is going to be for your fall class, or are you
It
teaching?
is. It is. And I don't know
Okay.
when we'll get the shells. Last fall, we were late getting the shells.
It's going to be, I think, July 27th was
Oh, well,
last.
that'll give me time.
Yeah, Joe, did you hear anything differently?
I have not yet.
Okay, yeah, last I heard was July 27th. That's the goal, but you'll know as soon as we can. So I think this is something that you can do right now and have it all ready for you to go when you start populating your class. So what you're going to do is, write down your categories. Some are already included in your, they're already included in your shell that you'll get. There are things like tests and I think discussion board. It might be an exam or something, but you can just write down on this worksheet what your category is and what your percentage of it is, and be sure that it comes out to a total of 100%, which I think you already know that.
Yes.
So you might have tests worth 20, forums worth 20, and so on and so forth. So,
Yes.
but you need to start by creating categories. And if you go into your grade center and click on manage, and then well, you could look at column organization, but you can also just click on categories here and create any categories that aren't included in your course. I'm going to look and see. I'm pretty sure we have tests or exams. You have forum. I think you have homework.
Reading assignment questions.
All right, you're going to add those. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So you'll add all of them, write yourself out a list, put the percentages next to it, be sure it adds up to 100, and then you're going to be just fine. This is to check later on when you have everything in your gradebook, you can check to be sure that everything is in the right category, but that's really not necessary right now unless you have everything in your grade center. So here's an example of the weighted column. Okay, and there will be a weighted column already included in your grade center. What you need to do is just click on the chevron and open it up. And then you're going to come down to the bottom and you're going to take one by one all the categories that you are using for your class, bring them over to the right-hand side and put in the percentage.
Correct.
And
I
they
remember
just-
that now.
You remember that? So, for example, here's one that says lab. If you were using a lab, you would highlight lab, bring it over here, use the bottom arrow, and give your lab whatever percentage, and then so on and so forth. And again, that needs to add up to 100. Okay. The other thing is, once you have all your assignments in, once you have your class set up, you have all your assignments, with all the scores that you want for it. You can come back to your grade center. When you go to manage column organization, you're going to see all of the assignments that you have listed in your course. Okay, remember, once you add an assignment and you give it a point value, it will be in the grade center. And then you're going to check to be sure that all of these are in the proper category. So if they're not in the proper category, your weighted grades are not going to work. So if you have everything listed as an assignment and you don't have assignment as a category, it won't calculate properly. So that's just a check you can do after everything is in your course. So does that make sense? I hope. I think we went over that one other time. So
Yes, it does.
yeah, you can be working on that.
Now I grade with the rubric. Would it make sense to make each item in a category the highest grade 100% and then, work my way down?
In the rubric?
Yes.
Well,
Or
that's
in the
completely,
weighted grade center.
no, you're going to grade with the rubric and it will automatically add your grade to the grade center.
Well, I do that now, but I grade it with points. But if I change my weighted grade, something like 16 points would have been the highest points I would have given,
Okay,
say, for instance, a discussion board.
right.
What if I change that 16 points to 100%?
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter what each individual assignment, how each individual assignment is graded. You could grade on 100 points, on 20 points, on 10 points. Blackboard will take all of those items in the category and give it a percentage. So let's say you had a test worth 20 points and you're grading on 20. You have another test worth 100. You're grading on 100, and another test on 30 points. That's like 150 points. Blackboard will add all of that together. It'll take all the items from that category, which would be a test, and it will give it a weight. So if you had tests worth 30% of the total, I always say the total piece of the pie, then it will take 30% of that 150 and it will weight it that way. So you keep grading using your rubric and giving the score that you would give on the rubric, but Blackboard will be calculating the percentage of that category. So you really don't have to worry about how you grade. What you have to worry about is the entire percentage of that category as part of 100%. Does that make sense?
Maybe it will when I start doing it. I just don't know what's different between the way I'm doing it now and how
There isn't any difference in the grades. Do you want us to bring up your course?
Okay.
So why don't you bring up your course and share it, and we'll look at a couple of things.
Okay. I hate to take up all the time when there's somebody else on this call.
Nope, nobody else is here except Joe.
Oh, who's Joe?
Just you, Joan.
I thought you were
A faculty. No, Joe is another. He's what is he? My partner here.
okay. Let me
Actually, I'm just another Joe. That's all I am.
Not
Okay.
just another Joe.
I have to figure out how to shrink you because I have
Oh,
you on full screen here.
okay. I'm going to stop sharing.
Just inject one basic tenet for you, Joan.
Okay.
Everything that you will be doing in the grade center and related to grades will be based on one factor: points. Everything is points.
Yep.
Everything that the grade center calculates is based on points. All right. So Sandy was trying to say to you that the number of points is irrelevant when you're using weighted grading.
Right.
Because regardless of the points, the weighted grading is going to be able to adjust, what their actual grade percentage is relative to those points and what you're allowing. So it's X points out of total possible Y points. And that's the way everything is done. How it's displayed is entirely different. You can display it as points, or you can display it as a percentage, or you can display it as a letter grade, but everything is based on points.
And when you do get your course set up, the weighted total, we'll show you, you won't need the total column anymore, because total points and weighted total points is different.
I'm not seeing my course here in Blackboard. Did they change the login or something?
No,
What was the last time?
Faculty Lounge,
this
NCC
the-
Faculty Senate.
oh, go to, if you look at the top where it says courses, if you click on that,
Oh, okay.
and go to spring 21. That's the one you want to look at, because we don't have fall. So if you go to spring 21. And you might want to have your syllabus handy too, if you don't know what points. And we can, well, I thought we did this last time.
You did. No way. I'm still not able to find my class. Shall I share
Hang
my
on.
screen and maybe you could talk me through it?
Yeah,
That'd be fine if you want to do that.
Yep. We can do that. Okay, so click on courses on the left. Yep. And now go to where it says current courses up on the top. Up, yep. Click on the chevron and do 21 spring. There you go.
There it
Is
is.
that your
Okay.
there you go. So go ahead and open it up. Okay, so let's go to your grade. Let's go right down to your grade center. Full grade center. And let's see what you have. Okay, so right now, just looking at this, that weighted total column, you didn't use it, but it was there when you got your course shell. If you notice the grade column, or the total column, I should say, the total column is the total number of points. When you put your weighted totals in and set them up here, you're not going to need the total points. Okay, so right now I look at that and I see 626. I don't know how many points you had, because I can't hover over it, but according to your calculations, that was a 99. It might be that 626 points when you set up your new weighted totals may only be 90 points. I don't know. I'm just saying that to show you that there is a difference between them. So let's take a look at the categories that you have, even though we're not going to change anything, because this is a course that needs to be maintained this way. If you go up to manage, and let's look at categories, just go down to categories. Okay, I see here that you, and you know what, maybe we changed these, I don't know, last time, but I see that you have assignments. I see that you have discussions. And there is some type of a test. Now, looking at your syllabus, what are the categories that, what are the assignments that you have throughout the course? Was it just assignments, tests?
I can show you.
Okay.
These are the assignments, and that's the
Okay. So this
percentage
is
of-
what this is what you're going to include in the assignments category. Reading assignment questions, you're going to make a category called reading assignment questions. Assignments is already there. Library visits, observations, whatever, you're going to make that a category. Discussions, I believe, is already there. Term project, you're going to make that a category. Vocabulary exam and final exam. All of that should add up to 100.
It does.
Okay.
I have a
20,
question
22
for
and
you there,
7,
Joan.
29, are we off a point?
Yeah, I'm looking at the first item.
Is that 20 or 26?
26.
26, but you've got 2% by 12, which equals 24. Am I just not reading that right?
Yeah. It should be 24.
Oh, all
Yep,
right.
that should be 24.
You know what? They changed from 15 weeks to 14. So that was
Oh,
probably an error on my part in the
okay.
spring.
So just be sure that this all adds up to 100. But when you start setting up those categories, it will tell you that it's not worth 100%. But
That
but I
was
would-
my oversight in the
Oh,
spring.
that's okay. But when you are going to set up your new course, you're going to have all of those categories. Okay. So you're going to go to manage categories, and you may have to make a category because I don't think I saw those in your categories. Okay. So while we're here, I just want to point out that your reading assignment questions were each one of those graded as a 2 or 100, or what was
The
it? graded?
maximum you could get was 16 points.
Okay, and you're not going to change that at all. You're just going to leave the number of points for that particular.
Oh, that's a relief.
Yeah, you don't have to change any of that. You can grade on 1,000 points if you needed to. But whatever point totals up for that particular category, it's going to be just 26% of the total 100%. So you just keep doing what you were doing there. And when you put in your weights, Blackboard will calculate 26% of that. Okay, so think of it as a pie, and you could divide the pie into many different pieces, but each one will be a certain portion of the pie, and when you add up all those portions, that's when you get the 100%. Okay, I know it's hard to visualize. That's
Yeah.
probably a concept that's difficult for people to just envision in their mind. So forget about your points and think of just pieces of the puzzle, pieces of the pie. So you want this piece to be worth 25%. You want this piece to be worth 10%. Just think about it that way. Okay.
Okay.
So that's what you're going to use to make your categories, unless things have changed.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so that's what you will use. Then when you go into each individual assignment, so let's go back to your learning content, and let's just pick one of your assignments, any type of assignment that you have, and let's see how many points you have for it.
You want me to pick a class?
Sure, it doesn't matter. Do you have an assignment in there?
Yep. This is a reading assignment question.
Okay, so how many points is that reading? Okay, that reading assignment is worth 16 points. You are going to grade on 16 points, right?
Correct.
Okay, you have a rubric. You can grade on the rubric.
I do.
You're going to add whatever number of points that student received. You don't have to worry about it. At the end of the semester, or actually, as you're going along, that is all going to be calculated on the back end by Blackboard, because you said that your assignments were worth, 20% of the total class. So all you have to focus on is making your categories and then assigning every assignment to the proper category. So let's go back to your grade center again. Go to the full grade center, and I want to show you something. Let's go to manage up at the top. So you have all your assignments in there with the weighted, the points, you graded them. Go to column organization. Okay, so now, if you notice, you do have some items that are in categories, but the majority of them are assignments and a discussion. Go down a little further. You're going to have many other categories because are any of these those reading library? Oh, library visits. Okay, you have them listed just as an assignment, and that's perfectly fine. But when you weight your grades, you're going to have to get them in the proper category
Okay.
so that the
So it's just a
percentage-
matter of me putting them in a category.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, I thought I had to change my point system to a
Nope.
percentage system.
No,
Oh, all right.
not at all. So you can just go about setting this up the way you usually do, but you're going to have to then use your weighted grades. You're going to have to come here to, the column. So let's just pick, I see here class two, library visit. So as it is right now, you have that listed in the discussion category. Was it a discussion?
Yes, it was.
Oh, okay. I chose the wrong one. How about visit interview class 4? Or even reading assignment. You have that listed as an assignment, correct? But
Correct.
that's not one of your categories.
Right.
So unless
Okay.
you put it in the right category, it won't calculate.
I'm getting it now.
You got it?
The light bulb went off.
Oh, good. So
went on.
you're gonna do everything. If you start out by mapping out your categories and the percentages, okay, then you come into the grade center and set up your weighted amounts to make a total of 100. It's gonna work. So let's go back again and look and see what you have in your grade center. Go back to no, let's go, go to the full grade center. And let's just pretend this is your new class. What you're going to do this time is you're going to go to weighted total. Oh, nope. The column weighted
Oh,
total.
right here. Okay.
Yep. Click on that. Edit column information. We're going to go down to the bottom of the page.
And then we
And
moved that. Okay.
Exactly. But you have to make your category, and you have to make your categories first, because the category of final term project, right now, if you do that, there's nothing in that category. It will never calculate.
Okay.
Okay, so does that make sense?
It does. Now tell me again where I create the categories.
Okay. Go are you full grade center. Manage categories. And
Uh-huh.
let's make one, even though you
Okay.
don't have anything in it. So your one category that you have is probably not here. Create a category. Yeah, go ahead. Give it a name. Okay, submit. And come down and let's see if it's there. There it is. So reading assignment questions. So when you go to that weighted column and start bring that over, that'll have a certain percentage and your category is already made. Also notice, and this is a good way to check that you have things in the right category. I look at discussion and I see a whole list on the right. All of those look like they were the discussion forums.
Correct.
So it looks like they were all in the right category. But if you look up in assignment, you're going to find the reading assignment questions are up there in assignment, but they really should be down in that reading assignment questions area.
I get it.
Okay. So
Okay.
anything you want to add, Joe?
No, I think I finally get it.
Okay, so first thing you're going to do is
When I get
map
my,
out your categories.
I'm going to copy my class when I get it in July,
Oh, yeah.
my new shell, and then I'm going to work on all the categories.
Right.
Creating the categories. And I don't have to change my point system, so
Nope.
then I can still grade with the current rubric that I'm using.
Yes.
Can
Yep.
I reach out to you when I have them created if I have any problems?
Absolutely.
Just to have a look
Absolutely.
at it to make sure that I'm on track.
Absolutely.
Okay,
So do you feel better about it today?
I do, and thank you.
All right. So here's a quiz question for you. Do you need to look at total points column anymore?
I should not have to. That
Right.
column
And neither
should go
should your
away. It should be a
students.
weighted column instead.
Right. So, and neither should your students. So once you get everything all figured out, you can delete that total column because you won't need it. And I will tell you, your students get very confused if they say, hey, I have 1,000 points, but my weighted total is only 70%. So they need to realize, oh, well, maybe you didn't do any discussion, so it's not going to calculate in your, weighted total.
Okay.
Right, just interject that what Sandy's saying about the student reaction to those two columns is very true. It's best if you only show them one, and that should be the weighted total, which is designed to be basically their primary grade. And in the end of the course, it should be the grade that you reflect in my NCC if everything's correct.
Okay, then I'll hide that column.
And if
So yeah,
workday-
hiding it is a good idea. Keeping it is also kind of a good idea, simply because it's not a bad idea to actually have it there as a reference point so that you could see if there is a question about someone's grade. Well, you could just go to that total column and say, well, I know that I have a total of 1,000 points in this particular course. Now the student is saying they did everything and they got 100 on everything. So why is their total not 1,000? So that would at least give you a flag that tells you, ooh, something might be awry. But so having the total column there for yourself isn't a bad thing, but not displaying it to your students is probably a good thing.
Right. And if all goes well and we need to have grades automatically put over in Workday, that may be something else you'll need to have handy too, because you don't want the total going over there. You're going to want, your weighted grade. So do
Don't
you
know
have
what
any other
Workday is.
questions?
No, I think I'm going to be good.
Oh, good.
I'm eager to get my new shell now.
Well, that's out of my hands and Joe's. But we are hearing that they should be not as late as they were last year.
Yeah, last year was stressful.
Yes, it was. It was very stressful. So I'm hoping that they get them out, as early as possible.
Trying to remember, I think we actually pushed back the start of the semester, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
We did less. Remember, we went from 15 to 14.
Yep.
It wasn't because of those shells coming out. It was because it was an enrollment issue.
Yeah, COVID related.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, enrollment. Yeah.
And enrollment, yep.
So, but I was hearing that July 27th, someone asked, that's not written in stone, but I know the plan is to get them out as soon as we can.
Okay, well, I should be good.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll send you the recording.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a
Thank
great
you,
day.
Joe. Nice meeting you.
You too, Joan. Take care. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye.